Hi everyone, it's Monica and welcome back to Tailor Made Cards for You. Well, recently I've had some luck in finding Idea-ology. I've been finding it reduced over at Hobby Lobby. I've been finding it at some of our local flea markets. And then of course the new Idea-ology came out. So I have to say I've been really hoarding my Idea-ology, but I'm really excited about it because I've got some great ones that I'll be able to use for Halloween. So I'm going to kind of tuck those away until we get closer to the holidays. But I was able to find some archival inks as well as some distress inks. So pretty excited about my stash here. I even was able to find some of the metal elements to be able to stock up for some of my 3D items that I'll be creating sometime in the future. But today I wanted to focus on the Idea-ology packs here, these little ephemera packs. And what I thought we would do is create some spring ATC cards that we could tuck away into our journals. And then my next video I'll be working with these salvage tags because I think these are going to be great for some of our journals as well. But today I want to definitely focus on the ephemera packs, specifically some of these little ones, to go ahead and create some ATC cards. So let's go ahead and get started. Now there's a lot of ways that you can approach creating ATCs. I have these blank flash cards that I picked up probably at a thrift store, and they are the perfect size for some of the small Idea-ology. These vintage plain cards are also great because they have some beautiful backgrounds, and you can find a lot of these also in thrift stores or even at flea markets. And a lot of people use these little ATCs and they stick them in their journals. Now, another thing you can do is you can use oversized washi tape for your background on your ATC cards. And then you can also use some of this tissue paper that Tim Holtz comes out with probably every year. He has several designs, and this one here is a great one for some of the field notes ATCs that we're going to be creating. Now we're going to start out with these vintage plain cards because you've already got a beautiful background of florals, and all you need to do is just add a few pieces of these ephemera items and you've got a perfect little ATC card. Now for the plain cards, you can use either the small ATC, or excuse me, the small ephemera or the bigger ephemera, because the card is a good size. And as you can see, these mushrooms are perfect with the florals in the background. And then if you want just to go simple, you can just add a cute little butterfly. There's so much to choose in these ephemera packs, and I think these are why they're my favorite, because there's so many beautiful colors. You've got a lot of designs you can work with, and just the possibilities are endless with these little ephemera pieces. Now a lot of these ephemera pieces do come from some of the stamps that he has out in his line. So these ephemera pieces are inspired by some of the stamp sets. So you could easily create your own pieces of ephemera, but certainly these packs go a long way for the price. Now, what I'm going to be using to adhere my ephemera pieces is the Distress Collage medium, and I'm working with the matte. And this matte collage medium can work as an adhesive as well as a decoupage, sort of. So you can put it underneath your item as well as over your item, and it will really work well to add these little pieces. The collage medium really works like Mod Podge, and some of the collage medium that I had before are in the screw-off bottles where they have the screw cap, but this one is a little different. This one actually comes in a squeeze bottle, so you could easily squeeze it down like a glue adhesive, or even put it on your paintbrush like I did here. Now, you could also pop up these little pieces of ephemera using your pop-up dots. And as you can see, I added the mushroom for the background to kind of fill into the background. And then I'm taking the second mushroom piece and I'm going to pop it up just to give it a little bit of a 3D effect. And then I'll finish off with a really colorful butterfly. And as you can see, this little ATC card came together really nice, especially when you have a floral background to begin with. The background of the card has this green tone, and then the one on the right has more of a purple tone, but it's just the perfect starter card for a little ATC. And like I said, these are great for some of your junk journals or even to go on some of your cards. And then for the second card, all I did was take a oversized butterfly and I added a little adhesive to make that butterfly pop up. And with that, both of the cards are going to be pretty much complete. There's not a lot that you have to do when you're working with these vintage cards, because there are so many beautiful designs that you can find out there, and they're not too expensive. And keep in mind, this is a card deck, so you're going to end up getting a full deck to work with. And these cards will go a long way if you're using them to create ATCs. All right, now another way that you can go, of course, to create your ATCs is using the little blank flashcards that I shared with you earlier. And I got a whole box of these for probably just a few bucks. And these probably are a little bit smaller than your typical ATC, but they certainly work great for this. You can also use old manila folders to start out, and you can just cut those down to size to your desired size that you need. Now, I just wanted to get a hint of blue background, so I pulled out some of my Distress Oxides, and I'm using Stormy Sky, and then I'm also using, what am I using here? I'm using Salty Ocean, and it creates the perfect background. And then what I'm doing is I'm coming in with Faded Jeans just as a darker edging. And as you can see, I'm using these little daubers from scrapbook.com, which are perfect to edge up some of your ATCs or even some of your cards that you're creating. This little dauber easily fits onto your finger, and you can just dab it right into your ink to get enough ink to edge up your card or your cardstock, whatever you're working with, to just give it a nice dark color. Okay, so for the background, we're going to go ahead and use this embossing ink, and we're going to stamp it right onto the oversized stamp. And we're going to be working with some of the Distress embossing glazes that I've been sharing with you in some of my previous videos. And I want to show you that you can easily use these on cards and on stamps to create great backgrounds. So because this is an oversized stamp, I did get some white copy paper for my background, and I stamped right over my ATC card. And as you can see, I was able to get full coverage. And then I'm going to go ahead and add some of this Distress Glaze all over it to create a nice background. Now, one thing I probably should have done is I should have used one of those static pouches to make sure that I didn't have any excess glaze all over my cardstock, because as you can see, I ended up with a lot. So I ended up just kind of taking it right over a trash can and flicking the backside to get rid of most of the excess. But you may want to use one of those de-static pouches before you get started on this. And then once I was ready, I went ahead and got my heating tool, and I heated the Distress Glazes to create a nice background. Now, another thing that you can do is you can use the embossing dauber that I shared with you in one of my previous videos, and then you can take your Distress Glaze and just edge up the outside of your ATC card, and that creates a nice border. And then once you get your glaze all over the edging, you want to go ahead and again take your heating tool to heat that embossing glaze to set it, and then it's going to create a nice shiny border for you. And then you're ready to add some of your ephemera pieces. Now, one thing you might want to consider, which I didn't do, is you may want to consider using some tweezers when you're working with these small pieces of paper and you're using your heating gun, because you might burn your fingers. And a few times I did get some of that heat right on my fingers. I just don't know where my tweezer is at this very moment. But that probably would have been the smart way to heat up your glazes, so that way you don't have that heat coming directly on your fingers. And as you see here, it got a little bit too hot for my fingers, and I put it down on my mat to finish heating it up. But I didn't burn myself or anything. I just got a little bit warm, but certainly I would recommend using a tweezer. And then from here, again, you can just start using some of your ephemera pieces to lay out your background. And because we are working with the field notes ephemera piece, we're going to just continue with that theme, moving along. So I'm just kind of working with my ephemera, picking out the pieces that I think would look nice on these little cards. And then I'm going to go ahead and add my Distress Collage medium again to adhere them to my background. And as you can see, these are coming together really nice. Now, what is great about these ephemera packs, both the larger one and the smaller one, is the pieces coordinate really well together. So any piece that you work with inside of these packs is going to work well together. It's just a matter of your preference. You know, on the one on the right, I'm going to end up adding a little tag that says, it's a red tag, and it's going to say par avion, which probably wouldn't go for field notes, but I ended up just coordinating it with a red 90-cent price tag, and I think it turned out fine. Like I said, most of these pieces in these sets are going to coordinate really well together, so just have some fun with it. Whenever I am creating collages, which is probably one of my favorite techniques, because I love working with little pieces of ephemera and building up your design. And you can easily, like I said, just have a flat surface, or you can add some of those pop-ups to give it a little bit of a 3D dimension, and these are just great to tuck away, like I said, into journals. They're good starters for your cards, or just to put a little note. If you're sending maybe a package to somebody, you can just write a little note on the back, and they create a really nice little note cards. And as you can see, I am also using my 3-in-1 beacon to adhere some of these pieces down. If you don't need to add any collage on the outside, you can easily just use some adhesive to glue down your pieces. And then you can come in with your collage medium after the fact to use a brush to spread it all over the top. It really is up to you, but I just wanted to show you that there are a couple of options here. And you can also use some of the Mod Podge that I've said before as well, and that works really well. All right, so I'm just kind of, again, just poking through my ephemera pieces, trying to pick out which ones I wanted to use. And then we're going to go ahead and create the last one using some of that tissue paper that I shared with you. Okay, so once I have all my pieces adhered, we're going to go ahead and set it aside with the other ones, and we're going to work on our last one. And again, we're going to be creating an ATC card using some of that tissue paper from Tim Holtz. Now, this paper comes in rolls, and you get a lot for your buck on these. I actually have probably 3 of these now, and I really love them for backgrounds because not only can you use them for the smaller ATC cards like we're doing here, but you can use them for some of your bigger projects as well. And the paper is translucent, it's tissue, so it's great for collaging. So what I like to do is go ahead and just tear off a piece of paper and kind of trim it down to size. But then once we have it somewhat the size that we're going to be working with, I like to go ahead and tear the edges because I like a rough edge. And with the tissue paper that you get, a lot of the paper is already collaged for you, so you're going to get a lot of designs, and it's just a matter of picking the one that you want to work with. And as you can see, I started out with one piece, and then I ended up switching because I thought this one was a little bit more eclectic, and I decided it made for a better background. So I'm going to go ahead and tear it down to size, and then we're going to go ahead and add some of that Distress Collage medium to adhere it to our ATC card, and then we're going to add some ink. So once I had the tissue adhered, then I just came in with some vintage photo, and I'm going to go ahead and add it all over the ATC card. It's not only going to go on the edges, but over the top as well. As you can see, the tissue paper already has some sort of like a brown tinge to it. So I'm just kind of adding to that. And then we're going to go ahead and add our small pieces of ephemera to finish off the scene. But this tissue paper is great for background because, like I said, with some of his paper, you have all different sorts of elements on the background, or different designs, I should say, and it really creates for a nice, interesting background. And then once I have it all adhered and I have my ink over it, I'm going to go ahead and just grab some of my ephemera pieces to create my little ATC card. And then don't forget, some of your little paper dolls would work perfectly on ATCs as well, especially the smaller paper dolls. A lot of times we forget about those because they are so small, but they're the perfect size for your ATCs. And for this mushroom, I decided to find one of the paper dolls that is sitting, and she's going to fit perfectly on this mushroom. And then once I have her adhered, I'm going to go ahead and bring in some of my distressed crayons just to give her a little bit of color. The background, of course, in my ephemera pieces are color, so I thought the black and white image was not a really good contrast. So I just wanted to give her a little bit color to make sure that she will kind of fit in on these little ATC cards. And as you can see, I am using some of these foam dots to just pop her up just a bit. Now, one thing that I've been doing recently when I've been painting or coloring up my paper dolls is I have been using Q-tips. And this is just one thing I hadn't been doing before. And I saw that someone had recommended that. So you can easily get your Q-tip and get it right on your, get the distressed color right on your Q-tip. Or you can take the crayon right to the image to get some of that color on, and then take your Q-tip just to kind of move the color. You can also use a watercolor brush as well, but I might recommend just trying that Q-tip just to see if you get the coverage that you want. Sometimes when you are using the water, it's just a little bit too moisture, and I find that the Q-tip is really easy to move some of that color around. And I've had some success with that. I'm going to keep practicing using this new technique, but I just wanted to share that with you as well. And then don't forget, one of the things that you can also do is with your distressed crayon is you can edge up your edging on your ATC cards, but you can also use it to color up the edging of your paper dolls. So don't forget, you can do that as well. All right, so now we have all 5 of our little ATC cards complete, and they're completely dry. And now it's just time to add just a little word or a little sentiment. And what I like to do for these is I like to use some of those chit-chat words, because they're just single words that work really well on these small ATC cards. And you have a lot to choose from. The pack that I'm working off of is going to have a white background as well as the craft background. And so you have lots to choose from. And I just kind of looked at the picture whenever I'm trying to pick out a word. I just look at the picture and I try to find one that will fit the actual design. Really no rhyme or reason. I just kind of look at my wording, and then I look at the picture, and then I decide what I think will work. For the little mushroom girl, I decided to use Discover because she is kind of on a hunt, and she's doing some discovery here. And some of these stickers, if you've had them for a while, aren't going to be real sticky, so you may have to add a little bit more adhesive to the backing. And then I just came in and added some Distress Collage Medium over the top as well. And then I'm just going to continue to go through my sticker sets to find some more words. For this blue one here with the butterfly, I decided to go with everyday, beauty everyday. I just thought that was a nice word that worked with that one. And then on the other few, the words that I ended up using are journey. I used the word beautiful, and then I used the word discover. So I hope that you've enjoyed my process for creating these little ATCs using some of the new ephemera packs from the Tim Holtz collection. As always, I'll leave a list of all the products that I've used to create these, along with the links to the stores. If you've enjoyed my video, I would really appreciate a thumbs up. And if you haven't subscribed to my channel yet, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and click on the little bell so that way you are notified when a new video gets posted. For one of my next videos coming up, I hope to be working with some of those new ephemera tags that came out, and I have some ideas to share with you with those as well. So you're not going to want to miss any of those. I also have some videos coming up using some more of the distress embossing glazes, just to give you a little bit more of an idea, and some backgrounds using some of those. And if you'd like, go ahead and leave me a comment and let me know what other kind of videos you'd like to see, and what other kind of products you'd like me to share with you. All right, everybody. Thanks so much for stopping by, and we'll see you again next time.